Thank you so much. I can't believe this. Everyone else in this category, you're so amazing. I love you so much. I feel so honored every time I get to be in this room. And as grateful as I feel, I honestly don't feel like I need to say anything, but that no one is illegal on stolen land. And yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter, and fuck ICE is all I want to say, sorry. Thank you so much, I can't believe this.
Billie Eilish is getting a lot of backlash right now because of what she said during the Grammys. She won Song of the Year, and during her acceptance speech, she decided to get very political. She said that no one is illegal on stolen land, and she ended her speech by saying F ICE. Now, if you want to get technical, she has a $14 million mansion in Los Angeles, and the people that inhabited that land is the Tongva Tribe, and they literally spoke out. You cannot make this up. They said, quote, "As the first people of the greater Los Angeles basin, we do understand that her home is situated in our ancestral land." The spokesperson said Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding her property, but we do value the instance when public figures provide visibility to the true history of this country. Now, she's no stranger to getting political in her speeches and on social media. I mean, she was recently criticizing billionaires for having too much money and they need to give it to people in need when she is one of the most successful artists in the whole entire world. And look, I get it, it's her fan base. She can say whatever she wants to them, but I feel like a lot of the time she says something political, it does contradict itself.
No one is illegal on stolen land. With those 7 words at the 2026 Grammys, Billie Eilish didn't just accept a trophy, she ignited a massive national debate. Within hours, the internet was divided. Supporters praised her for using her platform to challenge immigration policies, while critics pointed out a glaring irony. Billie Eilish owns a $3 million Los Angeles mansion sitting on the ancestral territory of the Tongva people. Today, we are breaking down why she was right, well, based on what you want to believe, where the black backlash came from, and how this conversation could have been handled with more nuance. First, let's talk about why so many people rallied behind Billie Eilish's statement. The phrase, "no human is illegal on stolen land," is a powerful piece of political rhetoric rooted in 2 main arguments. First, we're looking at it from the historical perspective. It reminds us that the borders we police today were drawn over lands that were forcibly taken from indigenous nations. By calling the land stolen, she's highlighting that the concept of illegality in a relatively recent legal construct imposed on a continent with a much deeper history. And then we look at the human rights aspect. It shifts the focus from paperwork to humanity. Billie Eilish was specifically calling out ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, arguing that the moral right of people to seek a better life should outweigh the strict legal definitions of a government that hasn't always occupied this land. And I saw a lot of people in the comments saying that the Native Americans back then attacked each other and had intertribal conflicts, and that America conquered and earned the land fair and square. Okay, if you say so, but let's take a little bit of deep dive, like just brief deep dive into history a bit. Yes, long before the Europeans' arrival, Native American nations were dynamic societies that engaged in diplomacy, trade, and warfare. Territory was often tied to resources like hunting grounds, water, and sacred sites, I guess. And some conflicts were driven by the need for better land. For example, the Iroquois Confederacy. I'm pretty sure I didn't pronounce that properly. They expanded their influence significantly during the 17th century Beaver Wars, pushing other tribes like the Huron and Algonquins out of the Great Lake regions to control the lucrative fur trade. We also had the horse revolutions in the 1700s. The introduction of the horse transformed the Great Plains. Actually, the Comanche used their superior equestrian skills to carve out a vast empire in the southwest, replacing groups like the Apache. Also, they had tribes like the Lakota Sioux migrating from Great Lakes to Black Hills, eventually becoming the dominant power in the Northern Plains after pushing out the Crow and Kiowa. Obviously, history has always had its abundance in terms of fighting and conflict for land, food, resources. I guess you can say that's just how humans are wired. However, the arrival of Europeans introduced a fundamentally different concept of land, private ownership backed by written deeds, and the doctrine of discovery, a legal concept used by European monarchies to claim discovered lands for themselves. Let me further explain these tools of disposition. So the first, we had the treaty system. The US government initially used treaties to acquire land. While these were legally binding agreements between sovereign nations, they were often signed under duress, through bribery of minor leaders, or later ignored by the US when the gold or fertile soil was discovered. Also, the introduction of diseases and depletion. Smallpox and other European diseases decimated populations. That means it really affected them. Obviously, it's like, oh, the island of Senegalese, that's why we've been told to leave them alone because they have had no outside interaction for years. Imagine if we were just to go there and introduce all the diseases that we have and we have probably developed a certain level of immunity, it would kill them off in a second. Like literally in less than a week, they would all be gone. So yeah, smallpox and other European diseases decimated populations. It weakened the tribe's ability to defend their borders. Additionally, the systematic slaughter of the bison was used as a military tactic to basically stop the tribes from attacking and basically doing any other thing. This actually made them to starve and then just yield into submission. Also, we had the legislation that was the Indian Removal Act of 1830, and this led to the Trail of Tears, where the five civilized tribes were forcibly moved from southeast to Indian territory, which is the modern day Oklahoma, by the way. The Dawes Act of 1887, this broke up communal tribal lands into individual plots, that is the selling of surplus in air quotes land to white settlers. It was definitely not surplus. Native Americans lost over 90 million acres of treaty land through this act alone. And by the late 19th century, the Indian Wars ended with the confinement of most tribes to reservations, often located on the least fertile land. This history is why modern statements regarding stolen land carry so much weight. They refer to a series of broken treaties and forced migrations that fundamentally reshaped the entire continent. Now, back to Billie Eilish. The land under Billie Eilish's $3 million mansion is the Highland Park neighborhood of Los Angeles, and it belongs to the ancestral territory of the Tongva people, also known as the Gabrielino, as earlier established. So the Tongva tribe called their world Tovaangar. I'm pretty sure I didn't pronounce that properly either. It spanned over 4,000 square miles, including the entire Los Angeles basin and the Chanel lands. Before Spanish contact, they lived in over 100 sophisticated villages and were among the wealthiest and most technologically advanced tribes in the region. And in 1771, the Spanish established Mission San Gabriel, which began the forced removal and enslavement of the Tongva people. They were rebranded as Gabrielino by the Spanish, later under Mexican and then American rule. The Tongva were repeatedly pushed further out of the city, forced into the Boyle Heights, and eventually into smaller settlements to make way for urban development and white homesteaders. Today, there are over 700 citizens of the Gabrielino-Tongva nation, and unlike many other tribes, the Tongva are not federally recognized, meaning they have no federal reservation or sovereign land base. And this is why their response to Billie Eilish was so specific. They appreciated visibility but noted that she had not contacted their tribe directly regarding her property on their ancestral land. It was not out of spite, it was just out of, oh yes, we appreciate you talking about this, but are you also going to walk the walk as you have spoken or as you have talked? So in the concept of a massive global stage like the Grammys, her statement actually brought a crucial conversation about Indigenous history and immigration justice to millions of people who might not otherwise think about it. But here's where things got complicated. The critics, including political figures and even some legal firms, were quick to point out the perceived hypocrisy. If the land is truly stolen, then who is currently holding the stolen goods? Well, the Tongva people, or the Tongva tribe, the First Angelenos, responded with a measured but firm perspective. As I earlier stated, they appreciated the visibility Billie Eilish gave to the issue, but they pointed out a major omission. She hadn't actually reached out to them. And this is kind of where we have the celebrity activism gap. While Billie's sentiment was in the right place, critics argued that living in a multi-million-dollar home on that very land without direct engagement or reparations to the local tribe made the statement feel like virtue signaling to some. So, how could she have delivered this message more effectively? Yes, she could have delivered this message more effectively. Actually, it often just comes down to moving from general statements to specific accountability. And here are just some ways I feel Billy could have done things better. So first off, instead of a general stolen land comment, she could have named the tribe, saying, "Oh, we are standing on the ancestral lands, or we are living on the ancestral lands of the Tongva people, Native Americans, or so and so Native Americans." She would transform it from a political slogan into a respectful recognition of a living community. Also, she could have, acknowledged them, like acknowledging her privilege also. Activism is often more resonant when the speaker acknowledges their own role in the system. If she had added, "As someone who lives on this land and benefits from it, I recognize my responsibility to support those who were here first," it would have neutralized most of the hypocrisy argument against her. And then finally pairing the statement with a specific call to action, like call to support indigenous led organizations or immigration reform groups, gives the word teeth. It's like, oh, you put your mouth where your money is. Although Billie Eilish in the past called out billionaires, and she did donate part of her wealth to actually show that, okay, yes, she's not just going to talk, she's also going to, do action. She understands that it begins with her. But at the end of the day, Billie Eilish did what a lot of artists aim to do. She made us uncomfortable and started a conversation. Whether you think she's a hypocrite or a hero, the fact is that we're talking about the Tongva Tribe now, and the history of LA land ownership today is as a result of her words. I don't think I would have gone and really studied the amount of history I did about the native people if this controversy didn't start out, because I was not even fully aware of this. I had to go and research, and I'm glad I did. So let me just capitalize off of all this and just say, I see where Billie Eilish is coming from. Selective morality isn't exactly morality, and opinions should not come off as performative. But I also believe that people should not be bullied for having an opinion different from yours or just seeing things from a different perspective. But with that being said, you can choose to disengage from celebrity content if it bothers you so much. The biggest problem is that everyone believes everything is black and white, but it's not. There are gray areas, and just because you feel you're right doesn't necessarily make the other person wrong. I want to quickly divert a little bit and say that ICE has stated that it is deporting illegal immigrants and criminals. Okay, that's a noble cause, but by what means are they achieving this noble cause? Are they still obeying and protecting universal human rights? Are they using unwarranted force, violent force actually, in a way that harms people even when they're compliant? Are they doing it just for fun, like hurting people? And basically, that is just where I have the issue. It's like, okay, you want illegal immigrants out of your country. That's great. That's good. Like, you don't want crime. You want to reduce level of crime. That's okay. That's noble. But racially profiling people, hurting people to make them comply will only ruin your said noble cause. And let's not forget, where there is good, there is also evil. Some officials might be upholding the law properly, but some have a past history of leaning into �𝐢𝐧𝐢𝐬 ideologies, if you get what I'm saying, and being outrightly racist. Like, hiring such people will only negatively affect the outlook of the ICE supposed noble cause. But basically, these are just my 2 cents on the issue. Feel free to disagree. But in all, what do you think? Is it enough for celebrities to spread the word, or do they need to lead by example with their own property and wealth? Kindly let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into different aspects of pop culture. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.